Hello, and welcome to the February 2024 meeting of Triangle Association of Freelancers. Our guests this evening are Liz Brignac, the editor of Midtown Magazine, and Janice Dewine, the editor of Triangle Family Magazine. Ladies, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having us.
Liz, let's talk a little bit about your new gig with Midtown first. Okay. Tell us a little bit about what Midtown is, what its mission is, kind of where you intend to take the magazine since you have the editorial reins.
Midtown is a culture magazine that comes out every other month, and it's focused on the Raleigh area. I think it started out maybe focused on the Midtown Raleigh area, but at this point, it's anywhere in Raleigh. And we talk about culture, travel, restaurants, breweries, kind of anything that a lifestyle magazine would cover. And we where I'm planning on moving it to, I only started like a month ago. But the one thing I'm really excited about with it is establishing some permanent department areas so that we have the features that come, they're themed usually around just whatever theme we pick, or the season, or like the December ones themed around the holidays. And then we have departments, and the department ones kind of rotate, but we're going to do a lot with the performing arts. So we're doing one called On Stage that's new, that we're going to be working with local theaters and dance companies. And there's the possibility of one on music that will sort of face it. And then we have something called Sip and Savor, which is breweries, anything liquid, breweries, wine, breweries, distilleries, kombucha, mead. There's a mead place in Chapel Hill. There's a place that brews mead. So, and so those are going to be kind of like more permanent areas. So I'm kind of hoping we'll be able to be sort of seen as a good resource for people who are interested in the performing arts in particular. That's the sort of place that we're headed with it. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And with 5 West, which is our one for Western Wake, we're revamping that one entirely. So that one's thus far been kind of very focused in Cary and modeled kind of after Midtown, and we're changing that up. We're going to make it very focused on each of the 5 towns that make up 5 West. So because 5 West is Western Wake towns, and Holly Springs, Cary, Apex, Fuquay, Varina, and what am I forgetting? The other one, Morrisville. So we want to have like specific sections focused on each one of the towns, and that's going to completely revamp how we do that one. So that's kind of where we're going with them. So, and they're both, that one's going to focus a lot on, or that one focuses on Western Wake. So the materials that we publish there are focused entirely on those towns.
You mentioned some themes. Can you talk a little bit about some of the themes of some of the upcoming issues? And Midtown is bi-monthly, right? Is every other month?
It's every other month. So we've already planned May, June, but July, August, September, October, and November, December. I actually emailed everyone because I knew I was going to forget if I didn't. So I emailed everyone the themes. I actually emailed them for Triangle Family too, Janice. I hope that's okay. So the ones for July, August are summer relocation and summer fun. The fall ones are fall fun and oh, come on. Fall fun and fall fashion. And December is holidays, but that often usually involves a lot of profiles of charitable works or people who've made a difference in the community. So, and then January is always the Diamond Awards, which is like our Reader's Choice Awards, and health and sort of healthy living. And those are the ones we have plans.
what kind of writers are you looking for? Who would be a good writer for Midtown or Five West?
Anyone who has done nonfiction work that, or we're looking for people who are good at research because we don't have an army of fact checkers. It's kind of me fact check. So I like to be able to depend on the research that writers are doing and people if you don't have to have super amounts of I mean it's great if you have experience writing to public audiences about nonfiction topics, but as long as you can write in a sort of it's a place to start if you want to. I like the idea of opening doors for writers who are breaking in. So if you know the culture, you're good at writing and you know how to research and you want to give it a shot, I'm kind of excited at the opportunity of helping writer because that's what Carolina Parent actually Janice was talking about Beth Shug. She did that with me. I pitched my first article to her and I'd never written much. I had a little bit under my belt at that point, but I hadn't really done very much. And she really helped sort of usher me into the world of freelance writing with, she was I really miss her. She was a terrific editor. And I'm kind of like trying to live up to the standard she set because she was so good. So I'd love to work with new writers as well. So if you can send me anything, even if it's like something that you just wrote for this, showing me that you can write and that you understand research, we can work on getting the topics the way we need them to be and sort of start working together on getting you more regular writing.
Now,
Does that help
Midtown is a
answer your
paying
question?
market.
Yes,
Pardon?
35 cents a word plus 25 cents reprint fee if we use it in more than one magazine.
Okay.
25% reprint fee. So occasionally I'll write something that Janice can use, or I'll publish something that Janice can use in Triangle Family. And so I'll hire the writer to write it. And then if it gets published in Triangle Family, there'll be a 25% payment for the reprint.
What are you not looking for? I like
Nothing
asking
political
editors this
at all.
because you know what I mean? Is like, what do you have too much of, or what is inappropriate? What kind of stuff should, just not send you?
Don't send anything political. We're a very non-political magazine. Um, don't send things that are vague. If you want to write about something like actually had an example because I knew that question was coming because Don always asks that question. um, so why communities should work together. That's that's too vague, it's not specific and it's not local. But if you want to talk about how Oak City cares, and I'm talking about this because that was a real important theme when I was writing about Oak City Cares for Midtown. Oak City Cares has sort of created an entire network of local service organizations and sort of ropes them in to help them all sort of network together to help get people out of homelessness. That's the same theme, but it's specific. It has a local hook. So if you need to tie it to some local person, event, individual, something specific, and Wake County from Raleigh for Midtown or Western Wake for Five West. So if it's something like a band you like plays in Virginia, that probably wouldn't, that'd be specific, but it wouldn't be quite local enough. Keep it specific and keep it local and keep it apolitical. And Janice probably has other ideas. Those are three that I would say I would probably not want.
You send a photographer, or are your writers also expected to take photos to accompany their articles?
It depends. If like for example, we have one on Lavender Acres Farms coming up in May, June, and the business is going to be able to provide the photos, which is great because lavender won't be in bloom when we're trying to publish the article. So when we can, we like to get the business to provide if it's a business being profiled, or sometimes we like the author to try to get photos. Sometimes we send out a photographer, depending on, like, sometimes it's not possible for the business, or the business has photos, but they're all too low resolution, or the we often ask the writer if they can get the business or get the person they're profiling to send pictures if possible, but it isn't always possible. And we do have photographers who we can send out.
Very good. How do you like to be pitched? And how far in advance would you like a pitch if we're shooting for a particular themed issue or
Mhm.
something that's coming up, you know what I mean? How far in
Sure.
advance do you need these queries?
That's a really good question. So, um, to answer the first part of the question, um, it sort of depends on whether I've worked with the writer before. If I have, like, we have a working relationship with a number of with a list of writers, some of whom are in Triangle Association of Freelancers. And if you've worked with us before, I don't need to know as much about you, but I would like to know what what you want to write about, why you think it's appropriate for this magazine. Um, and if I'm not haven't worked with you very much, I'd like to know how you're going to research it because I have seen some very shallowly researched articles, and I have a background in school. Like I came out of this with scholarship. I'm really a stickler for really good, solid research. So show me that you know how to research it. If you haven't shown me that, if you can do that with clips, if you want, just showing sort of how you've researched and written articles before. But it might also help if you can sort of say, so in order to get the information I need to do this, I would interview like I recently did one for Midtown before the issue before I interviewed to become the editor on contemporary developments in hormone replacement therapy. And I didn't just sort of talk to one doctor, like doctor that was recommended. I also talked to several menopause doctors in the area, menopause focused and certified doctors in the area to get their take on it. And that's the type of research I like. Like if it's a topic like that where there's more than one viewpoint possible, I would definitely want experts consulted, particularly local experts. If you're like profiling local business, you can just talk to the local business. That's fine. But if it's a more juicy thing, like somebody's doing the history of or the history of film in North Carolina, and I would expect several sources to have been consulted for that. So I like to be pitched with the relevance, a sense of what occasion might. It helps me locate it for which issue we're going to put it in. If you can say, for example, we have a piece on a nonprofit that focuses on breast cancer, and they said they pitched it for October because that's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So even though it didn't fit like one of the preset themes, it fits that season. So she hooked it there, and you know, we're going to do her article. So the relevance to a particular time, the relevance to that particular magazine, that particular culture and community. And if I haven't worked with you before, a sense of how you'd research it. Those are things that I would like to say. And also just a brief introduction to who you are and what your history is. And if you have them, clips of previous like blogs, or I wouldn't want to see academic work or fiction. It would need to be public focused work. And if you don't have any yet, write something that shows what you could do and send that.
Very good. Um, is there anything else that do you want to be pitched by email? If anybody here has some ideas they feel are strong, how do you want us to reach out to you?
Email me at elizabeth@midtownmag.com.
Elizabeth at midtownmag.com.
Yes, and I can put that in the chat. I also wanted to mention a few things that I'm looking for, particularly right now, because in part of how we're revamping Five West. I'm looking for people who live in Fuquay, Holly Springs, or Morrisville, for some regular writing for Five West in particular, because we're trying to get some very localized writing on what's going on there, businesses that are important to them, events in that area. Like Cary recently had Ashworth Drugs closed. That was a huge deal in Cary because Ashworth Drugs was so it was an institution that had been there for decades. So if the person writing for Carrie, I would want to know the significance of Ashworth drugs. But Fuquay has its own versions of those things. Each one, I want them to know the community. And so we're looking particularly for people who can do that. And I also would love somebody who can write about fashion. We have a wonderful stylist, and I'd love to be able to have somebody who could sort of write more intelligently than I can right now on the world of fashion. We've got a guy who does sports, but I'm always open to, I'm kind of looking to like fill research holes that I have. We've got a lot of people, for example, who write about food already. So we're kind of good there. But history, the outdoors, um, any of those would be good. And in particular, like fashion, we have some people who've done some beautiful articles on interior design. That's not an area I am particularly well versed in, but we do have some people who do that. So education, I think that would also overlap very well with what Janice does. The universities, you know, basically local things that we don't already kind of have filled in. But the most important things right now are going to be Western Wake focused because of having to kind of quickly move that magazine into a different place.
Make sure you send those needs to TAF, Liz. I think, our members who are out in the towns that you're looking for correspondence for, I'm sure some people will raise their hand. Excuse me. Before we move on to Janice, any final thoughts on the magazines, your editorial needs, anything at all that you would like us to know?
Just that I'm going to work with you. Oh, I mean, I've been in TAF for like 10 years now. I'm thrilled to be able to like work with y'all in a helping find work kind of place because I've been looking for work for many times. So I definitely would not just like accept, but I would love pitches from y'all because I have a great relationship with you and I really want to kind of keep this relationship working. I also have some cool ideas about how like I'd like us to sort of have a coffee maybe once every 6 months or something with our staff. We have so many great writers and they've never met each other, and half of them have never met us. And so I would like to kind of like maybe if we can make it work for the writers, get together, have coffee, have the publisher meet them, sort of because they're kind of without the writers, we don't have a magazine. So it would be really nice if we could sort of bring the writers together with each other and the staff together with the writers a little bit more. So that's one thing I would kind of like to do as I move forward. So please pitch me. I would be thrilled to hear from you.
You'll get some ideas, Liz. I know you will. I know you will. And especially after you reach out to the greater membership here. That's awesome. And congratulations on this new gig. I think you're perfect for that job. And I really look forward to seeing what you do with it.
Much fun.
Pardon me. Janice, let's talk a little bit about Triangle Family.
Sure.
Um,
It's a new publication. We've only been out a year. So we published 6 issues and now we're going into our second year. I was one of 4 steady writers for Beth, who was the previous editor. 2 of those writers dropped out for personal reasons. So it's just me and another person. And so that's why I'm needing a little stable of maybe 4 writers that I can depend on. And to echo what Liz said, again, nothing political. It's not that we're a fluff magazine. We definitely delve into some meatier topics, but we also want to have the aspect of it being a friendly, family friendly magazine because children may be reading this. So there's that, but also anyone who I need people who are dependable. When you get a deadline, I need to adhere to that. Only because we have 2 new graphic designers who are specific to Triangle Family, and they are requesting to get stuff early. One of those graphic designers lives in Romania, of all places. So it's really, it's crazy and wonderful to be working with someone on the other side of the world. But they have requested that they get, the stories soon because they're terrific. They're really great to work with, and we want to keep them. So, and I'm willing to give you a couple days extra, but we really do need to be.
Deadlines need to be met.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Tell us a little bit about, I was saying deadlines need to be met.
Yes,
And,
yes. And like what Liz had said, always asking the sources that when you're working on a story, especially if you interview, that's really, really helpful, because most of our features, we want to have an interview, have someone in the fields of parenting, of the experts. We want to be able to talk to them and make the stories more personable. So it's always helpful, of course, to have the interview experience and to be very precise with fact checking. AP style we have to have AP style, Oxford style with the Oxford comma. We have to take that out for AP, save space, that kind of thing. So if you have an AP style book, an online, like I refer to that the style book all the time, and they're always changing things. So it's really important to make sure that you're up to date on that. And I guess, just adhering to word counts, because we have feature stories and they're run about 1,000 to 1,200 words, but our department stories are a little smaller and those are about 800. And I have writers who sometimes will, kind of go over the word limit. Instead of an 800-word story, they turn in a 1,200-word story. And then we're having to cut down and edit. And I also need someone, speaking of that, who is open to having their work edited. I know some people get a little, a little, not what I wouldn't say bent out of shape. They just bristle a little bit if you work too much with that. I just need clean copy. That's really all I need. Something that's ready to go. So
what kind of, the subject is broad. So what kind of articles, what kind of topics are you looking to cover that you would like pitches on? What areas are you most in need of right now?
That's a great question. So all of our issues have a theme. And I think, Liz, you said you sent those out. So for instance, like our summer theme is summer fun and back to school. But we will have a feature story that in there that may not, most of the magazine will follow that theme, but we can have a story in there that doesn't follow the theme, that just to shake things up a little bit. So it's not all about summer fun. It's not all about education. It's not all about family health. That's something that I think Beth had always said, you can have a feature story that has nothing to do with the theme. So like one of the features I'm thinking I would like to assign to somebody is this girl who she just won Miss America Teen. Her name is Hanley House, and she's a junior at a public school in Johnston County, and she just won. If you go to hanleyhouse.com, that's her. And she just won maybe about 2 months ago. And I would love to interview her, not only because she's local, but also because she's young. She's a junior in high school. And I'd love to know about the world of a pageant. I don't know anything about that other than, the people who are competing. So I'd love to get that firsthand perspective. So that would require an interview. And there are also some entrepreneurs I would love to interview. The woman who just started, her name is Victoria. She just started Liberation Station bookstore in downtown Raleigh.
Yes.
For African American, yeah, I would love to interview her because I think that's just a really important, that would be a really important topic. But again, I would prefer to have some interview experience. If you don't have that, it's okay. Just be really, really careful, make sure that you're quoting people correctly, all of that type of just common sense.
Exactly.
I have heard of people who get upset who said, I was quoted and I never said that. That's a little scary. So,
Hopefully nobody in TAF will do that. They should know better.
Yeah, but if you look at the themes, I don't mind someone pitching something 4 or 5 months down the road. Ironically, at Carolina Parent, I thought that Beth was coming up with story ideas and sending them out to the writers. It was the other way around. The writers were pitching stories to her. She's like, no, I never came up with that many story ideas. I let the writers bring them to me. And I thought, wow, all these years I worked with you, I never knew that. So yes, I'm always open to anything that's parenting, family fun, raising kids, feel free to just send me some ideas, because you
That's a
never,
lot of territory.
I think a certain way, but I love hearing other people's, because other people have a handle on what's going on. One of our writers, Kurt Dusterberg, he's my sports writer. I don't know anything about sports, so I'm relying on him to say, hey, you know what would be a great story is the Junior Carolina Hurricanes program. I didn't even know they had a junior program. So he's writing that. So see, I just I can't think about everything. I don't know about everything.
That's what freelance writers are good for.
Yay.
Do you pay the same amount as
Yes.
Midtown, 35
Yes.
cents a word?
Yes. And also, just to clarify about photography, if you can't, usually we ask the writers to get photos from their sources, but if we can't send out a photographer, we can always use stock photography as well. So, don't panic if you can't get any photos, and that will happen. Some people I've interviewed are like, no, I don't have any photos. We're kind of like, oh no, what are we going to do? But we always make it work. We always make it work.
What rights do both magazines buy?
I'm sorry, it's raining here, and I've got, I think, against my window.
Here also, I was curious what rights. Is it all rights, or is it First North American serial rights? What rights are you buying when you purchase a magazine?
You mean
purchase an
the stock photography? We
Oh,
have.
no. I mean for the articles themselves.
Liz, help me out with this. I'm not sure what.
Like what rights does the author have to their own work after
okay.
I think it's 6 months, isn't it?
It's a year, 1 year.
It's a year.
Okay, and then rights revert back to the author.
Yeah,
Okay.
1 year, and that is in the freelance contract. Sorry.
Perfect. This is awesome, you guys. And Janice, Liz just shared your email address for those who would like to reach out to you with ideas.
Thank you so much.
I'm trying to make sure I'm covering all the details here. Is there anything that I have not brought up that needs to be brought up?
If you go to issuu.com, it's issuu.com, and you go to the homepage, you can type in Triangle Family Magazine, Midtown Magazine, 5 West Magazine, and you will see all of our past issues in digital form.
Okay, great. So that'll give us an
that will help
opportunity
you,
to learn your voice, the style.
Yes,
all
that
that
will
stuff.
help you. That will help you kind of, we're only 54-page magazine, so there's only so much we can put in there, but it will definitely help you kind of understand how the magazines are structured, our feature stories, our department stories, the themes, all of that. We have a 95% pickup rate, which is
that's awesome.
really good. really good. And I think it's because we're the only print magazine, and we're really proud of that.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Folks, is there anything for Liz or Janice that you would like to know that I have not asked about yet? Sarah?
For Elizabeth, you had mentioned that you would like to hear more from people from Fuquay, Morrisville, Holly Springs. How about Apex? Because I live in Apex and I'm actually a native of the area.
Apex, we had somebody today say that he could be doing Apex, but he might need help because Apex is like bigger than Holly Springs. So if you're interested, send me an email and I will keep you in mind for like some of the features if we're doing like Apex related features, or if Dave doesn't work out or moves or something, we could use you as somebody who also helps with Apex. But someone contacted me today sort of to be the correspondent for Apex. So
But if Sarah has some specific ideas that are Apex
absolutely
related, you would definitely like to hear from her.
Yeah, so the recurring writing assignment, somebody already expressed interest and I already sort of said we would probably work with him, but we're still going to need work on Apex because this is a 5 West magazine. So please pitch me on ideas and I will definitely contact you with Apex related material.
That would be great. Would you like me to email you and send you my contact information and information about myself? Okay, great. And I guess this question's both for you and Janice. So I blog for Psychology Today, but then a whole other area of my life is being the mother of a 4-year-old and talking to other moms about things to do in this area. Is that relevant?
We have a calendar section in the back. Are you talking about like play dates for moms, or can you give me like some idea of what you mean?
Things to do on a rainy day, maybe for a
Yeah.
toddler,
That would be that, and actually that would be what we would call evergreen
okay.
material, which yes, if we have an issue where we have to kind of, I mean, I hate to say it, but if we have low ad sales, which has sometimes happened, we have to fill pages. So
Okay.
having evergreen material like that would be wonderful, because then we could just pull it out and put on a stock photo, and it's always nice to have 3 or 4 stories that would be evergreen material. That would be great. Things, yes, things like that would be.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, I trust you have writing experience, but I'd love to see a resume and a writing sample. I just love learning about what I think that just fascinates me, is what someone's journey has been. And when I talk to people and I find out that they wrote for this place or that or this magazine, I'm just like, really? Wow. So, you know, it's definitely a you can
Some
brag.
amazing writers who've been doing really very high level things. It's very
Yeah,
exciting to work with
it's
them.
really
Sarah,
impressive.
mostly anything parenting you would probably want to send to Janice, because
Okay.
And you don't
Well,
have to be a
if it's
parent.
something
I mean,
specific for if it's something specific to 5 West, a 5 West locale, then maybe, because that's a much sort of family oriented magazine in its way too. The Raleigh one tends to skew adult more.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking, you know, I've already thought maybe just off the top of my head, you know, some stories about downtown Apex and what they're doing there, the plans for expansion, and you know, some of the shops that are coming there that are new. Some of, would that be of interest?
Yes, that would be perfect. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay,
In fact, one thing we're talking about, again, the how we are going to, what exactly we're going to put in each section for each of the 5 towns, because we're going to have some material that covers all of Western Wayne. And then we're going to have each town have some material, like several pages devoted just to it. And so I'm trying to build each town's sort of section around that town's interests. And a lot of people are very interested in the local businesses. So we're going to have like a local business spotlighted in every one of them. So I was thinking maybe one department piece, kind of like what you're talking about with the plans for the expansion in downtown Apex, would be, you know, and I was thinking for the holiday season, it'd be really fun to do how each one is doing their holiday, like their big holiday events would be kind of a fun holiday themed 5 West approach. But a department piece, which would be like 2 pages maybe, and then a spotlight, things going on around town, events in town. We're sort of working on, you know, but I'd also like to hear what people would like to see covered. So if you
okay,
wanted to sort of get in touch with me also about what you know about the people in Apex and what they want in terms
okay.
of how we cover material in Apex, that would be a huge help actually. And we definitely would want to hear from you about that.
Okay.
And that would also include family stuff, because, you know, Terry's very, at least, and I know Apex too, is very family oriented. So trying to write about it without mentioning kids is sort of, you know, there's a lot of sort of theater and opera and dancing and ballet and stuff in the Midtown one, but a lot of the material in 5 West is going to be very family friendly activities. So
Yeah,
Well,
and there's
both of
always
you,
things going on downtown Apex. It's really kind of a neat little microcosm. It's not a big downtown, but they always have things going on there.
Liz, I have a
Please,
question. What will you do with the page in the back that I do? The things to do. Are you going to have that? Are you going to keep that going, or will that be?
I definitely want an event section for there, because I think people are still going to want to know, and I don't want to just do events for each burg, because you know, if otherwise it's sort of, we're going to put it all together in the back as things to do around the
Thank you. I just
Sorry, James.
one page of events. I was like, oh God, if we could keep that or not. So, all right.
One of the things we all do is we write for each other's magazines.
Yeah.
very
actually writes our
incestuous
event
relationship.
section.
Do both
Isn't that
do
funny?
both publications pay on acceptance or on publication?
Publication.
Publication. Okay.
But we contract and there is a kill fee. I mean, I've never had a story kill. I don't think I would ever kill a story, but if there would be officially a fee for that. And
if you write something that for Midtown and or 5 West and they can't fit it in that issue, maybe ad sales are really high and they have to move a story to the next issue, that's always a possibility. Sometimes they'll have to shorten it. There are ways to, I think even Beth told me recently, she's like, I never had to kill a story. We always made it work somewhere, sometime.
Janice,
we have had to push stories sometimes though to different issues depending. Not
Janice,
often.
is there anything else about your publication that we haven't talked about that contributors would like to know or that you would like us to know? Anything undiscussed?
I don't think I think we covered most of everything. Again, you don't have to be a parent. And if you just like that kind of parenting children, that sort of thing. I was told once that one of the most famous children's writers actually didn't like kids. Told that at a literary festival. Someone told me that. She's like, I led him around and he told me, I write for children and I really don't like kids.
Was it Roald Dahl? Because I think he hated kids.
I would love to see what you all create. I would love some story ideas, and
we really appreciate the opportunity that both of you are providing to us, and we really appreciate the fact that you're coming to us specifically. We have 150 members in our organization, almost all of whom live in the Triangle area. So Liz has been active in getting the word about your needs. And everything that our members need to know about pitching. So I'm hopeful that you will be getting some very good ideas very soon.
Sure. Yeah, if I could have maybe 2 or 3 writers that I could maybe depend on, especially if we have a writer who might be going out of town and can't write, for instance, Kurt can't write. So I need then to find somebody else. And you don't want to see my byline in every story anyway. So
are you amenable to writers who live out of state? Like looking at maybe not like a locally focused story, but more of a general evergreen kind of topic.
Yeah, that would be fine. That would be fine.
Okay. I was thinking of Allison Hill, Elizabeth. So Liz, so she's in South Carolina now.
Okay.
If somebody like Allison used to live here and could focus it locally, that's one thing that I really do care about though, is if you're pitching me, it needs to have a local connection. It doesn't, if you don't live here, that's okay, but a story that's too generic won't work. It has to be very it has to feel local and relate to, even if it's something where it could be the topic itself might go into another magazine or a non-local magazine. I'd want the sources you're interviewing to be local. And in general, I want the topics to stay local.
Okay, very good. Does anyone else have any questions for Liz or for Janice?
Yeah, Don, if I may, for Liz, first of all, congratulations on moving up to the editorship. It's a great magazine. We're lucky in this market to have a very robust magazine universe. I was wondering, Liz, if Midtown has ever considered going monthly. I think you're bi-monthly now.
No, not that I know of. Certainly there's no discussion of doing that now. We've got plenty to do bi-monthly. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. Don, a question for you. Would you mind staying online a couple of minutes after you adjourn for a couple of questions, please?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. If there's no more further questions for Liz and Janice, we would love to have you just hang with us if you want to. This is a part of our meeting where everybody shares their good news, sales, things like that. Does anyone have anything to share? All right, you guys are 10 kinds of awesome. Again, thank you so much, Janice, and thank you so much, Liz, for sharing with us tonight about the magazines. It's exciting opportunities for everybody. We really do appreciate it, and I hope you get a lot of great ideas from our membership.
Thank you.
You guys have a great evening, and I will see you all next month.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.